Hey guys, this is Coach Brandon with 1780 Fitness and Martial Arts and the United States Krav Maga Association. I'm going to make a quick video today to talk to you about a concept that I call range management. And this stems from a video that I watched earlier in the day, which was a knife attack, very close quarters. So Bruce Lee identified 5 ranges of unarmed combat. So we had kicking, punching, trapping, hand or foot immobilization, standing, grappling, and grappling. And if you study Jeet Kune Do at all, which is a system I think gels very well with Krav Maga conceptually, you'll understand those ranges of unarmed combat. What we have to consider in Krav Maga is that a person may come into a confrontation armed, or they may become armed during it. So we study the defense and ultimately the use of weapons, primarily which are the knife, the gun, and the stick, and primarily the handgun inside of that context for civilians. So in this video, 2 men come up to each other very close together. They're kind of in each other's faces, posturing, doing the tough guy thing, kind of doing the monkey dance. And both of them have their hands down at their sides. They are at 0 distance. So every possibility in the world pretty much exists here. Now, guy number 1 takes a big swing. Looks like a swing. Looks like he's throwing a punch. Guy number 2 receives it somewhere about the left side of his head or neck. You can't see because of the angle of the camera. But he receives it. So it looks like he's taken a swing, but he's not. It's actually a knife attack. And guy number 1 has stabbed him somewhere about the neck or the head. Now, guy number 1, understanding he just landed a very heavy blow, starts to back away. He starts to get distance and manage the range that he's at because he doesn't want to engage anymore. Guy number 2 pursues him. He walks toward him kind of with his hands down. He's bowed up, doing the tough guy thing. He makes it a few steps before he collapses into the fetal position, either fatally wounded or at least very seriously wounded. I'm not sure which, because I don't see the conclusion of it, but given where that blow was landed, it had to be a pretty serious wound. So talking about that management. So one of the problems with martial arts is that they have rule sets, and they're very often sports in modern times. Judo, which is my thing, I love it. You are allowed to operate in 2 ranges, standing, grappling, and grappling. You're not allowed to punch, kick, or there's no hand or foot immobilization as we see it in Jeet Kune Do, or as in immobilizing the hand or the foot. So you can only operate in 2 of those. If you were boxing, you're allowed to punch. You're not allowed to kick. You're not allowed to clinch. They'll break you up. You're not allowed to grapple or have standing grappling, so you only operate in 1 range. Now, if we make a sport, or we make a martial art that has a rule set that dictates what ranges we can operate in, and that's all we ever do, then by definition we will be wholly inexperienced, uneducated, and untrained in operating in the other ranges. Now, one of the advantages of being able to operate effectively in each one of those 5 ranges of unarmed combat is that if you're fighting somebody who doesn't know how to operate in any of those, or in only 1 or 2 of those, you can move them into a range where they're going to be a fish out of water. So it's a distinct advantage for you to cross-train, to do your jiu-jitsu, your judo, your Muay Thai, your Krav Maga, to have all of those things, because it makes you more capable of operating in each one of those ranges. And one of the first ways that we start to manage range management in Krav Maga is with our ready position. We're back and our hands are very much up, and it automatically creates this kind of a barrier. So where the 2 men in that video started off at 0 distance, we would understand that if we were in some kind of a confrontation, we would back up and say, hey, get back. Now that starts to create distance for us. Distance gives us 2 things, time and opportunity. How much distance there is in between us changes the amount of time, and it changes the opportunities that we have to act. And certainly in this video, it didn't go well for the guy that allowed the attacker to come to 0 distance. We don't recommend that either. We realize that sometimes we'll be recovering from an attack that we didn't see coming, but that wasn't really the case in this scenario. It was pretty obvious that things were going to go bad pretty fast, and they did. So how do we manage that? How do we manage the kicking, punching, trapping, standing, grappling ranges? First and foremost, we do that with our ready position. So if we know that there is a potential threat coming, we're back, our hands are up, and we're already creating that barrier. We know if they get close enough, we're going to have to strike first, or we're going to have to act first, whether that's disengaging and or acting. So that's really kind of one of the primary ways that we do it. Another way, because we train to function in all ranges of unarmed combat, is to start to get a feel for where that person wants to function. If somebody comes swinging heavy punches at you and you're capable of putting them on the ground or knocking them to the ground, they will probably be at a disadvantage there. If somebody tries to pull guard on you, they're clearly expressing a preference for one of those ranges. It's now up to you to manage where those ranges take place. So don't go into the range that person wants to be in. But again, for self-defense, we have to be able to function competently in each one of those ranges. And we have to consider that a knife, gun, or stick can be brought into each one of those ranges. Now, our offensive stick includes standing grappling, hand and foot immobilization, and just pure use of the stick. So the stick can actually be used in all of those ranges. Same for the knife. Now we have to know with the handgun too, it's a projectile weapon, so if somebody's far away, not much we can do about that. We can't do much other than run away, kind of run in a serpentine and hope we don't get hit. But if they are close enough, then we could end up in a standing grappling position with a firearm. We could end up even in a grappling position with a firearm, and we have concepts to work around all of those, and we have to know how to function within each one of them. So to properly manage your ranges, you're going to prepare yourself by learning techniques, concepts, and strategies in each one of those ranges. You're going to perceive any threats coming and get yourself into a position to receive them, and that's your first part of range management. Whether that gives you the opportunity to run away, to act, disengage, or escalate is up to you, and it's up to the given situation. But really, we've got to manage these ranges as effectively as we can, and don't let anybody, my advice, who might be an aggressor get close enough to kick, punch you, anything else, because we don't know what weapons are coming out. So I hope that addresses some things that you guys might have questions about concerning different ranges, and clarifies why we want to focus so much on range management, the importance of it. So if you have any questions, feel free to hit us up on 1780 Fitness or the United States Krav Maga Association, and we'll get back to you ASAP. Stay safe.